Hey guys, I'm Mark from Podcast, and welcome to week 1 of the Premier League review for the 2017-2018 season. We are back after 3 months of the summer break. Finally, the best league in the world is back, and judging by this first week, it's going to be a good one. But anyway, if you are new to the series, what we do is we take a look at the past set of Premier League results, we take a look at the Premier League table, and finish off by looking at the top goal scorers. So here is a list of the past set of Premier League results. These games were played on Friday the 11th, Saturday the 12th, and Sunday the 13th of August 2017. Also next to the games are the times in this video, so if you want to hear about a specific game, just go to the time next to the match and just skip out all the other crap. But without further ado, let's get into our first match. We start with the first game of the season. It was Arsenal versus Leicester. The opening game of the season had a crazy opening, as only 1 minute into the game, Arsenal took the lead through their big summer signing, Alexandre Lacazette. It's what dreams are made of, scoring on your competitive debut with your second touch of the match and your first shot of the game. What could be better? It came when Mohamed El-Neni whipped a Peter ball into the box, and on the end of it with his head was Lacazette, and the Frenchman opened his Arsenal career in style. But the lead wouldn't last long, as 2 minutes later Leicester equalised through Shinji Okazaki. It came yet again from a header and another great ball into the box. This time it was Mark Albrighton who whipped the ball into the back post, and on the end of it was Leicester new boy Harry Maguire, who headed it back across goal, and all that was left was for anyone to touch it into the net, and that man was Okazaki, who converted with his head. And 25 minutes later, Leicester would take the lead through Jamie Vardy. It came from another great ball into the box from Albrighton on the left, and on the end of it was Jamie Vardy who poked into the net. But Arsenal equalised on the brink of half-time through Danny Welbeck. It came when Alexandre Lacazette looked like he was trying to turn and shoot, but he slips in the process and ends up playing a great ball through to the tank known as Sead Kolasinac. He then squared it to Danny Welbeck in front of an open goal, and he did score eventually, but he did need about 2 touches just to make sure, which, you know, made me chuckle a little bit. But Leicester retook the lead 10 minutes into the second half when Jamie Vardy got his second of the match. It came from a corner as Riyad Mahrez whipped the ball into the box, and Vardy had far too much space to head home. But Arsenal would level the scoring yet again in the 82nd minute through substitute Aaron Ramsey. It came when Granit Xhaka played a lovely ball to the Welshman, and Ramsey took a touch before dispatching the shot. And less than a minute later, Arsenal would hit Leicester where it hurts, as they scored 2 in quick succession to snatch the points away from the Foxes. It came from another substitute in Olivier Giroud, another headed goal in this match, as Giroud rose higher than his man to land a bullet header on the underside of the crossbar and over the line. And that's how the game would end, and I think after this game, it's got us all in the mood for this season. 7 goals in the opener. How can you not be hyped for the season after that? What a game it was. Both teams had their moments. Leicester were deadly on the counter-attack. Mark Albrighton's crosses were always dangerous. But in the end, those 2 subs that Arsene Wenger made, bringing on Aaron Ramsey and Olivier Giroud, flipped the game on its head and eventually won them the match. And we move on to the reigning champions Chelsea as they took on Burnley. It wasn't the best start to the season for the reigning Premier League champions, as 13 minutes into the match, their new captain Gary Cahill got sent off. The challenge wasn't malicious, it wasn't intended to hurt Steven Defoe. It was just stupid. What happened was Gary Cahill tried to control the ball, but his touch was a bit heavy, and he tries to slide in to win it back. But he goes over the ball, catches Defoe clean on the shin, stud showing. Right decision, for you to decide. At first when I saw it, I thought yellow, but then when I look at the replay, I can see where the ref's coming from. It was dangerous. It wasn't intended to hurt his man. I have no idea. And things would go from bad to worse for Chelsea, as 10 minutes later Burnley took the lead. It came when Matt Lawton swung the ball in the box, and on the end of it was Sam Vokes, who hit the volley into the bottom corner at a snail's pace. It was slow, but it was well aimed at the bottom corner. Courtois got a fingertip on it. He couldn't do enough to keep it out. And Burnley doubled their lead in the 40th minute through Stephen Ward. What a goal it was. The fullback had the ball far up the pitch after a great 1-2 with Jack Cork. Ward chested the ball down before smashing a shot from the edge of the box into the far corner of the net. And 2 minutes later, Burnley added their third through Sam Vokes. It was such a sloppy goal from a Chelsea perspective. Free kick from Burnley, which is taken short by Robbie Brady to Stephen Defoe. Defoe swings across into the box, and on the end of it was a completely unmarked Sam Vokes, who headed into the net for his second of the game. But Chelsea would look to get back into the game when their £70 million summer buy Alvaro Morata got a goal 10 minutes into his Premier League debut. It came when Willian crossed a great ball into the box, and on the end of it with a diving header was Morata, who adds to the list of debut goals. He scored in his Serie A debut, scored in his La Liga debut, and now the Premier League. But Chelsea's hopes of getting back into this game were dealt another blow as Cesc Fabregas got sent off, and Chelsea were left to play the final 10 minutes of the match with 9 men. The first yellow was early in the game where he sarcastically applauded the ref and he was booked for dissent, a stupid yellow card to pick up. And he can't have any complaints about that one. He won't have any complaints about this one either unless he's, you know, an idiot. He lunged into a tackle and he catches Jack Cork. The fact that he even dived into a challenge when he's already on a yellow card is just mind-boggling to me. What were you thinking, Cesc? What were you thinking? Clearly nothing. But Chelsea would make the final minute of this match interesting as they reduced the deficit to 1 in the 87th minute through David Luiz. It came when Alvaro Morata headed the ball and David Luiz latches onto the ball and smashes it underneath Tom Heaton. And that's how the game would end, a huge result for Burnley. If you cast your minds back to last season, Burnley only won once away from home all season, so they've already matched that, and to do it against the reigning champions, Burnley could be in for a decent season. I mean, nothing massive, but like 10th, maybe. You never know. Gary Cahill's red card is what really changed the game, as after that, Burnley were all over Chelsea, and it wasn't until Alvaro Morata came on was when Chelsea started to look like the Chelsea of last season. Big win for Burnley, big shock for Chelsea. And we move on to Crystal Palace versus Premier League new boys Huddersfield. It was a dream start for the newly promoted side, as in the 23rd minute, Huddersfield took the lead. It came from a corner when Aaron Moy put it at the front post for Christopher Schindler to flick on for Matthias Jorgensen, who has a nickname. It's Zanka. I'm going to call him that for the season. Zanka takes the ball, turns inside, and the ball goes in via Joel Ward's knee, so it does go down as a Joel Ward own goal. And 2 minutes later, Huddersfield doubled their lead through Steve Mooney. It was created yet again from Aaron Moy, who played a great cross in from the left, and on the end of it was Huddersfield new by Mooney, who hit a thumping header into the back of the net. And Huddersfield secured all 3 points in the 80th minute when they made it 3-0. Moments after Crystal Palace should have made it 2-1, Huddersfield break up the other end of the pitch, and it ends up with Colin Quainer rolling a great ball through to Steve Mooney, who smashes it in for his second of the game. And that's how the game would end, and what a start for your first ever season in the Premier League. To come in, thrash a side 3-0, you couldn't ask for better. Huddersfield deserved winners. Palace never really challenged, and Huddersfield come away with all 3 of the points. And we move on to Manchester United versus West Ham. Manchester United would take the lead in the 30th minute through their new striker Romelu Lukaku. It came after Marcus Rashford played through the Belgian, who slotted the ball home via the post. And United doubled their lead 5 minutes into the second half when Romelu Lukaku got his second. It came when a ball is swung in from Henrik Mkhitaryan from a free kick, and on the end of it with his head was Romelu Lukaku, who aimed his header into the net. And United got their third in the 87th minute when Anthony Martial got a goal. It came yet again as Henrik Mkhitaryan sets up a goal as he played a lovely threaded ball through to Martial, and the Frenchman latched onto it and slotted the ball home. And United would hammer one final nail in the coffin, you see what I did there? As they made it 4-0 through Paul Pogba. This time Martial turns into the assister as he set up Pogba, who curled the ball into the net. And that's how the game would end, and it was a comfortable win and deserved win for Manchester United, who absolutely hammered the Hammers. They played well in the middle of the park. Pogba looks like a completely different player from last season, and it looks like it could be a decent year for United. And we move on to Watford versus Liverpool. It was a bad start to the season, and for Liverpool, as 10 minutes into the match, Watford took the lead. And like most goals that Liverpool concede, it could have been prevented. A simple corner routine from Watford as Jose Holebas swung in a great ball into the box, and on the end of it, with no pressure on him, was Stefano Okaka, and he planted his header into the net. But Liverpool levelled up the scoring in the 30th minute as Sadio Mane scored with Liverpool's first attack of the game. Yep, you heard that right. It took 30 minutes for Liverpool to get a decent chance at goal. It was a nice goal as Sadio Mane had the ball about 30 yards out from goal. He goes around a few Watford defenders before laying it off to Alberto Moreno. Moreno gives it back to him. Mane then played it to Emre Can, who flicked the ball behind him for Mane to run onto, and Mane dispatches the shot into the top corner. But 2 minutes later, Watford retook the lead through Abdullah Doucouré. Doucouré actually started the move by laying the ball off to Tom Cleverley. Cleverley then plays the ball across the face of goal, and in runs Doucouré, who taps into the net. But Liverpool will get the perfect chance to level the scoring when they were given a penalty 10 minutes into the second half. It came when Mo Salah runs into the box, looks to take the ball around Aurelio Gomez, who clips his feet and brings the Egyptian down, and the ref pointed to the spot. Roberto Firmino stepped up to take the spot kick, and the Brazilian placed the penalty into the bottom left corner. And 3 minutes later, Liverpool took the lead for the first time in this match when Mo Salah got his first Premier League goal for the Cop. It was a great move as Dejan Lovren played a great ball over the top for Roberto Firmino, who takes it down, looks to chip Aurelio Gomez, who came off of his line, but the ball looks like it's going wide, so in ran Mo Salah, who tumbled the ball over the line. And it looked like Liverpool were going to come away with all 3 points, but Watford had different plans, as in the 94th minute they snatched a point as they levelled the scoring. Yet again, it came from a corner, as Jose Halabas's corner isn't dealt with by Gini Wijnaldum. It fell to Nordin Amrabat, he shoots, and Mignolet palms the ball onto the bar, but right there, on the goal line, obstructing the goalkeeper, was Miguel Britos, who headed it over the line. I honestly don't know how that stood. And that's how the game would end. As much as I'm disappointed, a draw is probably the right result. Watford were the better side for the first half, but whatever Klopp said at half time clearly worked, as Liverpool were the better side. But Klopp, I know you're watching this, because we are a big channel. I fucking beg, bust the bank on Virgil van Dijk. If this game shows anything, it shows that we are in desperate need of another centre-back, a good centre-back, a centre-back who isn't a fucking clown like Dejan Lovren. Play Andrew Robertson, he was decent in pre-season. Why are we still playing Alberto Moreno? Although I'm not gonna lie, he did have a decent game. Not gonna lie. Watford will probably be happier with a point, but for Liverpool, it will seem like 2 points dropped. And we move on to Brighton versus Manchester City. It would take until the 70th minute for one of these teams to open the scoring, and unsurprisingly, it was one of the favourites to win the league, Manchester City. It came after Brighton defender Dale Stephens is caught out in the halfway line and the ball is stolen from him, and David Silva slipped the ball through to Sergio Aguero, who placed the shot past Matty Ryan. And 5 minutes later, Manchester City doubled their lead as Lewis dunked the ball into his own net. Get in, lads. It came when Sergio Aguero gave the ball to Fernandinho out wide. He then whipped a great ball in the box, and under pressure from Gabriel Jesus, Lewis Dunk inadvertently converted it into his own net. Although, to be honest, it was a banging header. And that's how the game ended, an expected result in the end, but it could have been a lot worse for Brighton. But the Premier League newbies have nothing to be ashamed of. Yes, they got beat, but only 2-0 against the great Manchester City squad, who everybody expects them to be challenging for the league this season. And as for Man City come the end of the season, they're going to be up there challenging. It's going to be a battle of Manchester up there, I reckon, but who wins it? We're going to have to wait to find out. And we move on to Newcastle versus Tottenham. The first half of this game was a pretty uneventful one. No real chances apart from one for Tottenham. But other than that, nothing really. Game will get a bit of excitement 2 minutes into the second half though, as John Joe Shelvey got himself sent off. It was such an unnecessary red, as Dele Alli was on the floor holding the ball, overcomes Shelvey, tries to take the ball off of Ali. Doesn't get there, so what does he do? He just steps on Dele Alli's foot right in front of the ref. Straight red card, no real complaints, you moron. And 10 minutes later, Tottenham took full advantage of the man deficit as they took the lead. It was patient build-up play from Spurs, pass after pass after pass, Harry Kane into Christian Eriksen, who crosses the ball into the box, and at the back post waiting for it was Dele Alli, who hits it with his left foot into the bottom corner. And Spurs double their lead 10 minutes later through Ben Davies. It came when Harry Kane gave a first-time ball to Christian Eriksen. The Dane looked like he was going to shoot, but before he could, in came teammate Ben Davies to take the ball away, and he struck the ball low into the net. And that's how the game ended, a comfortable win in the end for Tottenham, no problems for them. At the back they look solid, same with attacking as well. Newcastle, however, they've got some problems they need to sort out. And we move on to Everton versus Stoke. Everton had looked really poor in the first half, barely being able to string a few passes together, but the one time they keep a hold of the ball, they make it count, as on the brink of half-time they took the lead. It started as Wayne Rooney gave the ball out wide to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who played a great ball into the Stoke box, and on the end of it was Wayne Rooney, who rose above his man and headed past Jack Butland for a goal on his debut. Return? Re-debut? He scored in his first match back in an Everton shirt. And that's how the game would end. Yep, nothing really happened in the second half, apart from a few close chances for Stoke. Some were denied spectacularly by Everton's new keeper Jordan Pickford. Another new boy, Michael Keane, was nice at the back, and in the end it was a good day for Everton. Stoke were knocking on the door in the final 10 minutes, but in the end it wasn't enough, and Everton came away with all 3 points. And we move on to West Brom versus Bournemouth. West Brom took the lead on the 30-minute mark, and it's a familiar sight if you're a West Brom fan, as it was scored by a defender from a set piece. It was Chris Brunt who took the free kick and placed the ball into the box, and on the end of it, on his debut, was Ahmed Higazi, and the tower of a man headed the ball through the legs of Asmir Begovic. You may think why I've called him a tower of a man. I'll tell you why. He's 6'5". 6'5". He's a giant. And that's how the game would end. I think it deserved to win in the end. Leading up to the goal, West Brom were the better side. And Jay Rodriguez for West Brom, he had a cracking game. West Brom didn't have much of the ball, but when they did, they went forward and they threatened. But an opening day loss shouldn't be a surprise to Bournemouth fans, as this is the 3rd opening game in a row that you've lost. And finally, we've got Southampton versus Swansea. To be fair, this was a pretty entertaining 0-0. Both sides created decent chances, with Southampton making the better ones, but both teams were wasteful with poor finishing and sometimes good goalkeeping. In the end, I'd say Southampton probably deserved to win. They made more chances, and Swansea actually failed to register a single shot on target. So that's all the games I've got for you this week. Before we go, let's take a look at the Premier League table and top goal scorers, starting off with the Premier League table. Down with the top 5, and as you can see, Manchester United are top of the league following their 4-0 win against West Ham. Premier League new boys, Huddersfield are 2nd after beating Crystal Palace. Manchester City are 3rd after beating Brighton. Tottenham are 4th after winning against Newcastle. Arsenal make up the top 5 after their win in the opening game of the season. Moving on to the bottom 5, the West Ham are at the bottom following their big loss against Man United. Crystal Palace are 19th after being beat by Huddersfield. Newcastle are 18th after losing to Tottenham. Brighton are 17th following their loss to Manchester City. And Stoke make up the bottom 5 after their narrow defeat at Everton. Moving on to the top goal scorers, and as you can see, Steve Mooney, Romelu Lukaku, Jamie Vardy and Sam Vokes are all tied first after they all got 2 goals on the opening games of their seasons. And being the odd one out in the top 5 is Anthony Martial, after he got a goal and an assist after coming off of the subs bench against West Ham. Right, so that's all I've got for you this week. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll be back next Tuesday for the next episode of the Premier League review. Finally, the Premier League is back. I've missed it, and I'm excited to see what happens this season. Huddersfield are going to win the league. Trust me. Calling it now. Also, if you're interested in our thoughts on the games as they're happening, be sure to subscribe, because Jack has gotten into live streaming now, and this weekend alone he's live streamed 4 games, and in the future I should be joining him. But I know if you want to follow us on Twitter, you can. The link is in the description, or it's at @PortsmouthSport_. If you want to follow me on Twitter or subscribe to my personal YouTube channel, you can. The links to both of those are in the description as well, or my channel should be popping on your screen round about now. But anyway, thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you're new. I've been Mark from A Portion of Sport, and I'll see you soon.